It's an interesting topic to get into. It's one of the hardest things that I've ever tried to talk about because it's such an elusive element of the self, right? This eternal part of us that somehow co-inhabits this temporary body, this part of us that is constantly reminded of its own mortality and how everything falls away except for this one thing, right? Except for this part of us that's plugged into something bigger than us, or carries the essence of that thing that never has stopped moving, right? And how do you put words to that in a tangible, palpable form that's relatable, right? Because the same voice that's speaking inside of you is the same voice that gave birth to it all, right? Like almost 14 billion years ago, something decided it wanted to know itself, and out of nothing, the world of form was born, right? And one could say that every element of diversity expressed through that immensely vast body of being is a vocabulary word expressing itself, right? I am that, I am that, I am that, like Nisargadatta said, right? I am that, and there are no two snowflakes alike, right? So every single word that's being spoken is original verse. It is a spontaneously composed expression of poetry that has never been said before, right? Including you. And it's been speaking itself into existence in pure originality since the beginning of time, right? 14 billion years without repeating a word, right? And the majesty of it all. And I think the thing that is so easy to forget is that it's still speaking, right? And what it's saying right now is literally everything that you can see, feel, hear, smell, taste, touch, and experience around you, emerging through the present moment of time, right? That is the spoken word of God, right? The spoken word of the divine, revealing itself to itself through itself in the immediacy of the emerging present moment. And as soon as it expresses itself, it lets itself go, right? And you are that same resource of revelation, right? You're an emerging being. You're not anything static, right? You're revealing yourself to yourself through yourself in the exact same way, right? So on some level, I've always giggled. It's in the beginning of my path, I used to say, oh, I really feel like like I know myself, right? And I realized that was kind of like this temporary delusion of my own spiritual adolescence, in the sense that there's absolutely no way for me to know myself. I can know who I've been, but I'm discovering myself. If I'm really being honest with myself, I'm revealing myself with every breath, because there's never been a breath like it, right? And when we really slow down and look at it this way, I think it brings back the majesty of this place that we get to be in for 100 years or so, if we're lucky, and how incredibly brilliant the design is, and how fortunate we are to be in this space. And I know that can be tough to grapple with sometimes, because it is challenging to be here at times. But in comparison, like, I'm pretty stoked that I got to be here instead of, like, I don't know, Mars, like, or Saturn or Jupiter. Like, I don't know how well I would bode there, amidst sulfuric acid rain and like ridiculously crazy temperatures, like with not much going on, right? Or most of space is empty, right? Complete void and darkness, nothing going on at all. Like, think of how much is going on here, right? How many voices are speaking all at once? How many things we have access to as reflections of our own divinity in this space. It is a microcosm of the vast forms of diversity expressing themselves through the vastness of space. And somehow we have them all in the immediacy of our or in the forefront of, or in the accessible regions of our consciousness. We can reach out and touch them. And as a result, the soul's growth is radically accelerated. And it reminds us every day that we're being reinvented.